Malicious Compliance. Immigration Law Edition. This is a tale of how I maliciously complied my client into a much better visa route after the Home Office refused her first application. I'm an immigration lawyer in the UK, and if you don't know anything about our immigration system, it's just a mess. The rules are tough, often cruel, very complex, and there's very little flexibility. It doesn't matter how sympathetic someone's circumstances are. If you don't meet all the rules, you're not coming in. Even if it's to join your family. Even if you're an elderly person who just wants to spend their final years with their British children. Especially if you're an elderly person who just wants to spend their final years with their British children. Enter Doris. Not her real name. Doris is a 93-year-old Australian citizen who lives alone in a nursing home. All her children are in the UK. Doris had a modest wish to move in with her daughters in the UK and spend her twilight years with her family. She was in pretty good health, but her continuing isolation led to anxiety and depression, especially after she was the victim of a robbery. So Doris did what she thought was the right way of going about it. She applied to move to the UK as an adult dependent relative. What she did not know was that this route had almost impossible requirements. So tough that only about 5% of these applications are actually granted outright, and a further 5% succeed on appeal. So the odds are pretty terrible, and you don't get the £3,250 application fee that you paid back if it's refused. Alongside financial and relationship requirements, she had to show that she required continuous care with everyday tasks like dressing and cooking for herself, and that this care is not available in Australia. She could meet neither of these rules, and her application was refused. The refusal letter made a point of emphasizing her excellent health, important for later, as evidenced by the letter she included from her doctor, completely ignoring the parts about her anxiety and depression. This is when she approached my firm for help. Now, appealing this decision would have been a waste of time. She clearly didn't need constant care with everyday tasks, and any care that she might have needed could be found in Australia. But after speaking with Doris, we realized something. Not only was she a Commonwealth citizen, as a citizen of Australia, but both of her grandparents were born in the UK. So we hatched a plan. The plan. What Doris didn't know is there was another visa she might be eligible for. UK ancestry. To meet the requirements, she had to be a Commonwealth citizen and have at least one grandparent born in the UK. Done and done. However, this was technically a work visa, so she had to intend to work in the UK, and she was very much retired. The thing about the UK ancestry route is that the Commonwealth citizenship, UK-born grandparent requirements mean that, overwhelmingly, the people who qualify for this route are white. And because our immigration system is somewhat racist, that means that many aspects of this visa are very generous or even lax compared to other routes. You get a 5-year visa straight away instead of having a 2.5-year one that has to be renewed at extortionate prices before you can qualify for permanent residence. Even the application fee is lower than other categories. Crucially, when it comes to the work aspect, you don't need to be sponsored by an employer. You don't need to work a certain number of hours. The work can be on and off, and even volunteering counts as work. This will be important later. The malicious compliance. You say Doris is in such great health that she doesn't qualify for an adult dependent relative visa? Okay, cool. She'll apply for a work visa then. Since the work could be volunteering, she reached out to a community center in the UK and offered to volunteer at a lunch service they provided for the elderly. The center was thrilled to have a new volunteer and wrote her a letter confirming this. After preparing all of the other documents, including some going as far back as the 19th century, like her grandparents' birth certificates. We were almost ready to go. All that remained was our covering letter. After outlining how she met all of the requirements, I couldn't resist quoting from her previous refusal letter about her excellent health and explaining that given that Doris would now be working in the UK, I also provided details of the few hours a week she would be volunteering at the community center, and reminded them that their own guidance says they cannot discriminate by age. Her visa was granted and she has now joined her family in the UK, as she wanted all along. And all she has to do to apply for permanent residence in 5 years' time is volunteer for a few hours a week. It's worth pointing out that the reason the adult dependent relative rules are so stringent is because in 2012, the Home Office decided that it's costing the country too much to allow elderly parents to settle here, as they were considered a drain on the NHS, our universal healthcare system that is free at the point of use. So the rules were changed to make it almost impossible for them to move to the UK. This is despite the fact that prior to the rule change, only about 2,000 people used this route to move to the UK. But there was nothing they could do to stop this 93-year-old in excellent health from joining her family here on this work visa. TLDR. Home Office refuses a 93-year-old's application to join her children in the UK because she's in good health, so we get her a work visa instead. This is like vigilante compliance. Likely, the volunteer work will help with her anxiety and depression as well, because it will get her out and about and encourage socialization. Love this. After having the first visa declined for my European but not EU wife, we know a lot about how hard and expensive doing it all officially is. About to prepare for hopefully the last visa with a right to remain. After the first one was a no, we hired proper help as it is, I think, impossible to get right on your own. You, kind angel, deserve all the respect in the world. It sounds rather like the US system. I remember navigating it years ago for my wife. I hired a lawyer to help her get her visa. The one exception is that state and USCIS almost never say no when a US citizen is involved in any capacity. Instead, they look for any error and make you correct it. Basically, they want to cover themselves, so when you call your representative or senator, they can say they are simply following the rules. Of course, that works out well once someone gets to the US. While they drag it out, the person gets to remain in the US. And again, this is when a US citizen is involved in some manner, as they are trying to avoid the angry call from the Congress member's office. Would she not be required to pay the NHS surcharge whilst on her work visa? I have really hated how the visa costs have increased over the last 6 years. I think it's in the region of £10,000 we spent on visas alone for my American fiancé to move over to the UK for us to get married and for her to finally get ILTR. One of the best stories on here. So happy for her, and she couldn't have done it without you. Good job. The cruelty is the point. Putting your skills to excellent use. Well done. Pulling a Mr. Incredible loophole, eh? Nicely done. How ironic. The British immigration system that is now modeling itself on the viciously cruel Australian system. I'm a refugee activist here in Aus. Ask me about my blood pressure. Still couldn't keep her out. Rolling on the floor laughing. At least she was going from here to there. Trying to move in the other direction is probably completely impossible. Great work. Thumbs up. Medium light skin tone. I love this. 100%. Good for you and good for Doris. I hope she gets many more years there. enjoying her family and volunteering. I hope she's enjoying the volunteer work too. I imagine it helps with her depression to serve the community and see more people while her family is at work. What a great job you did. I joke about members of the legal profession all of the time, but it sounds like you represent yours well. My take has always been that a lawyer is an interpreter. He speaks the legal language that I don't. This is a perfect example of speaking the language. Yas! Exclamation mark! Exclamation mark! Exclamation mark! As a doctor in the NHS, I welcome the fun foreign grannies. I love this. Well done op. My racist family members immigrated to New Zealand because it's nice and white there. What they didn't consider is that my aunt has every health issue under the sun, and when she hit a certain age she couldn't to spend months on end visiting her daughters and grandchildren. In fact, she can't get into NZ at all, so her racist ass is stuck. This is fantastic. You, sir, are my new hero. May your pillow ever be cold and may your traffic lights always be green. The rules are often downright malicious. The Home Office routinely makes unlawful decisions because they're happy for it to go to the courts. Not everyone has the resources, including mental health, to go to court for 2 or 3 years to fight their unlawful decisions. I speak as a refugee who had to do that. Won my case against them in 2016, and I'm still extremely bitter about the Home Office. Thank you op. I appreciate immigration lawyers immensely. You all fight the good fight against systematic injustice. Without my solicitor and barrister I would have lost, despite the Home Office's decision being unlawful. And God knows I might not be here at all now. You know, when people criticize Batman, they say he could do so much more good with his money than beating up mentally challenged people. You, sir, are doing exactly what those people think he should be doing. You should go to sleep this night remembering you are doing more good than a superhero.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Ericast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.